All right, I want to read a passage in 1 John chapter 4, verse 7 and 8. It says, "Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love." What an amazing verse. And what I've been thinking about lately is that if we claim to know God, as it says here, then we have an obligation to love. And this kind of a love must be sincere. And I want to talk about sincerity. And I think too often Christians are labeled as being hypocrites or unsincere or not genuine, not authentic, two-faced. And being sincere means to live without a mask and to live as Christ did, who lived in absolute vulnerability, who lived in absolute love. And oftentimes we are afraid to be who we really are. We're afraid maybe that we won't be loved or accepted. And really the only place that we can love others is in realizing that God loves us deeply for who we are, not for who we need to be or who we're supposed to be, but for who we are. And it's in that place that we get a revelation that I can love others out of my heart, the heart that God has given me, the things He's put in my life. And this obligation is something that we must do, we have to do, if the world is to know that Jesus is really who He says He is, the Son of God, and ultimately the only way to the Father in heaven. And we as believers have an obligation to live this out to the fullest. And Jesus said in John 17 that by your love the world will know basically that I and the Father are one. So the love that believers have for one another, the love that believers have for the world, that if we genuinely embrace people, if we in their weakness and their darkness, if we give them a second chance and a third chance and continually pour out this kind of a grace upon them, then I believe that it's like Jesus Himself sitting here next to me in my house. And Jesus longs to do that. He longs to come into our homes and be with us, to dine with us, to fellowship with us. And it's this kind of relationship that He longs to have with the world. And He longs that nobody would perish, but that everybody would encounter Him. And so God is love, and there's no darkness in Him. He is absolute light, absolute perfection. He is enjoying His people. He loves His people. And so hopefully that encourages you that God is not angry at you. God is not sad about you. You are His creation. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, the Word says. You are glorious, as in Genesis chapter 1, that we're created in God's image. That is amazing. Even if you're fallen, even if you don't know Him, you're created in His image. And He wants to restore you to your rightful image, which is being a son and a daughter, no longer a servant or a slave, especially an orphan. And He wants to bring you into His family. God is all about family, bringing those He loves into family. So I hope that encourages someone today